Welcome to the CoinSec Podcast. On this week's episode, we discuss cryptocurrency hidden in artwork, the city of Atlanta fighting a ransomware attack, investigation into who and what is Coinhive, Drupalgeddon 2.0, and Android miners causing full-on device failure. All that and more on episode number 11 of the CoinSec Podcast.
You want to secure your assets.
We can crack the wallet.
Oh, we've done it before.
We've got rigs. Character adversary attribution mode.
With our private keys combined.
Building some kind of blockchain super weapon.
There's just a number of vulnerabilities that are in the smart contracts.
Math. It's probably secure.
They all secretly mine cryptocurrency.
What coin can I trust? Which one is cryptographically secure?
Don't roll your own crypto. CoinSec Podcast. The CoinSec Podcast is a podcast about cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies with a focus on securing them. Don't let the hum of our dual-purpose crypto miner / password crackers in the background disrupt your listening pleasure. This week with me, I've got all the hosts. It's amazing. Finally, we got everyone back together. The gang is back in town. First off, we've got Mike Felch. What's going on, Mike?
What's up? I'm here.
Yes. Anything new, man?
New tools coming out, new content coming out, some red team talks
We're
being
doing
put
a talk.
together.
Besides
We are.
Orlando.
Yes.
Next weekend,
Yes.
man. It's going to be fun.
Against our arch rival, Google.
Yes.
Okay, maybe not arch rival.
No, maybe not arch rival. I mean, they've been kind of best friends for a while, but you know,
We broke up.
We had to kind of insert ourselves into them, if that works. But penetration testing is kind of the continuation there. Hey, Ralph May is here. What's going on, Ralph?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
Oh yeah. I'm doing good. Tons of. I'm gonna see you guys talk next weekend. I almost showed up this weekend, but it's totally different.
Yeah, don't show up this weekend. It is next weekend. So April 7th, 2018. If you're in Orlando, for Sands, maybe. So Sands Orlando's happening next week. You could skip your class on Saturday next week and come see an epic event at B-Sides Orlando. So you should do that. Steve Borosh, you're here, man.
Hello.
What's up, dude?
Finally, back from London and weeks off. I am feeling good and ready for this episode.
How's your trip across the pond, mate?
Hey, it was great. I saw some people in a hot tub floating down a river. It was fantastic. I don't know.
That's the site.
Yes.
Yeah, it was something to behold. So, yeah, good stuff. Actually talked to some people over there about cryptocurrency and spread the love of CoinSec Podcast. It was fun.
Nice.
Enjoyed it.
You're just handing out stickers to everybody, just throwing them around in the air.
No, unfortunately, I wasn't cool enough to get stickers, so.
I'm gonna send you a batch then.
I just gave out hugs.
So, Steve, you're coming down for B-Sides Orlando, right? You can just fly down and come see
Yeah, not quite. But hey, I am looking forward to Hack Miami. Oh, we're getting closer.
We're getting close.
We're getting closer. Yep. That'll be a fun time. So waiting for that.
What's that date again? It's May 17th, 18th?
Yeah,
18th.
mid-May. Yep.
18th through the 20th.
Nice.
The weekend after next.
Yeah, it'll be tomorrow by the
Ralph,
time we go.
get on those slides, man.
I know. I'm working on it.
Uh-huh.
So, Steve, what are you mining these days, man?
Actually, right now, as we speak, I am mining some Pearl. I'm doing that because I can dedicate just 2 of my cards in my machine. But for the most part, I've been mining Ravencoin and Verge.
So why Ravencoin? Tell me about Ravencoin.
So Ravencoin is an up-and-comer. Some might call it a cheap coin or a not coin or whatever, but I believe they've been endorsed by a few big companies, and I don't know. I just like mining stuff that I can mine high quantities of and keep and just hope that it goes to the moon. If not, then I've got a bunch of stuff that I can, give out as party favors.
Gotcha. Yeah. I lately I've been taking a little bit of the opposite approach. Like I mined Bitcoin private for a little bit, mined a few coins, and then I don't know, like even before Bitcoin private, I've been on Zcash for the longest time, and even now, like I'm back on Zcash, and I feel like it's profitable enough that I'm going to be happy with the returns over time. And I kind of have a dual purpose there because, like, I want to do a talk on the I don't know, like the benefits of mining and having privacy at the same time, versus like going to an exchange and like transacting a coin for like a privacy coin, because then you have like that trail of you did the transaction from a normal coin to a privacy coin, like say Bitcoin to Zcash or Bitcoin to Monero. Like, so I want to do a talk on like, what if you just mine the privacy coin? You don't really have that history of the exchange happening,
Sure. Well, yeah, I like that. And I've been mining Monero in the past and stuff, and I've been hearing things about how Monero is not so private as everybody thought. So, yeah, I'm not really looking for privacy. I would say.
Why does it always happen? Bitcoin was super private, and then was like, well, maybe not.
Well, not so much.
Yeah.
This is I actually know the reason why. I know the reason why. It's because there are not that many people that are in security that are looking at this stuff. This is the reason we have this podcast.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, this podcast answers that question.
Well, it doesn't answer that question, but it hopefully inspires people that are interested enough to look at it, or is smart enough to find these problems to look at it,
That's why we need to do like an O-Day podcast where we're just like, all right, we're dropping O-Days live. Here's all the vulnerabilities.
Well, that's actually going to be our Twitch stream next week. So,
why I was on Ravencoin, and we can talk about this later if you want, but was that Overstock said that they've been putting millions into the team to help develop it and stuff like that. So
what does it do? What does Ravencoin do? Like, what is the point?
I don't know.
All right. Let me ask you a question you do know. How much is Ravencoin worth?
0, because it's not on the market yet.
Oh,
okay.
So how does that? Wait.
So that's kind of the strategy.
No, okay, I get that. Okay, so that's pre-exchange, right? Yeah. Were they an ICO?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay, so there was no like pre-sale. So you could mine it though, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's actually really interesting.
Yeah, and that's how I heard it was. I was building mining rigs for a friend, and so a friend of a friend who has a mining farm said, "Hey, we're all mining Ravencoin," and I said, "Well, what is that?" So, Overstock got into it, so that's kind of where it led me to it. Nice. And I like things that I see have a plan, have a roadmap, and on Ravencoin, they have built out a roadmap or have one coming out. So it'll be interesting to see what their plan is and how much they get behind the development team. But yeah, I mean, we talk about that all the time, and it's how you just don't mine stuff to mine stuff, but you want to mine things that might have a potential future and backing and things like that. So a little bit of that went into play in my decision there. Yeah,
for sure. No, I agree with that. I mean, I like the approach of kind of, I guess speculating on the future of a specific coin. So like you hit me up about Pearl. So I mined a little Pearl with you. Bitcoin private, similarly, Electronium. Like I hadn't heard of Electronium like months ago, and you hit me up about Electronium, started mining that. But recently I've been kind of more just interested in like I said, like the concept of mining coins that are kind of off the radar, like just for more research purposes,
Sure.
But hey, let's move on to our, I guess we can call it like the cryptocurrency kind of therapy minute for this week. I don't know, like, because it's
where we all get
terrible. So, the state of the market for this week is really bad. The overall market cap for this week. Brace for it. $252 billion. We're down almost $100 billion from last week. Oh, sorry.
So I'm wondering how many people are losing money selling at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How many are gaining money? How many people have had Bitcoin for a long time and are selling it now? And kind of we see this gradual sell-off go on, which seems like a spike, but I mean, you got to remember we've gained like 1,400% over the last year.
Yes.
So this has actually kind of been while there's been some sharp downfalls, it's been a bit of a gradual decline, but it's steady and it keeps going. So where's the end? Somebody
I don't know.
tell me.
It seems like every week we get to a point where like it seems like the dip is over and we're finally going back up, and then it'll go back up for like maybe like half a week and then dive and then like it's fallen 10% to like it's under $7,000. Like we're literally sitting at like around $6,800 for Bitcoin this week. Ethereum is in the 300s, 370.
Jesus.
Ripple is at 48 cents.
Everyone sell everything. Just bail. Just get out.
So there's been word of
prepared
the
to what?
dreaded death cross.
So there is a beacon of light out of this, and this is my hope and dream. And I don't know if this is actually going to happen, but my beacon is, and this is extremely selfish, but I just want GPU miners or TPUs to go down.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, that's all I care about.
Ethereum ASICs. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's all I care. And so I just want some cheap. I just want to pay like slightly above MSRP. I mean, call me crazy.
So did you see, Ralph, that one of the lead Ethereum developers actually threw out a poll on Twitter asking if their users of Ethereum would be okay with doing a hard fork to subvert the ASIC mining community? And the majority said yes. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that ruins my GPU.
Yes, it
Plans,
does.
right? I feel like, oh, well, okay. So as soon as they announced that the ASICs were going to be coming out for Ethereum, then I guess they like slashed the predictions on like NVIDIA's GPU sales on like
They did.
Their stock actually went down. Yeah.
Yep.
Which I think is crazy now. Like the movement of cryptocurrencies actually now has a total effect over like GPU companies like
Stocks,
NVIDIA
sure.
and like the stock prices. Yeah.
Dude, they are in deep. I mean, we are in a moment in time where if you own a processing company, like even Sony now, like they're getting into the mining game. Like if you don't have something to offer to the cryptocurrency mining community, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild times. Even crazier though. All the coins are down. Yeah. But stock market's also down too. I mean, I don't follow it that much. I'm just.
Yeah, so one interesting thing I saw this week is that so the stocks actually bounced off their 200-day moving average, while Bitcoin actually today fell below it for the first time, which is kind of that's a huge deal. I mean, so
Well, yeah, that bears in mind that like my theory all along has been that people can't apply stock market charts and theories to cryptocurrencies. I think this market is completely different. I think there's a lot that has to do with the underlying technology stuff, like we said, the mining costs and all that stuff bears into mind. People can't pay to mine it. Who's mining to keep up with the transactions?
well, sure. I mean, the
like
stock
that?
markets.
Then
The stock markets have had time to mature. You know, they've had plenty of time to like work out various kinks that have happened over the years. Whereas with cryptocurrency companies, you have all these different things that are popping up that are like causing issues. Like, for example, dude, if any single vulnerability came up with any company, that will just destroy whatever, you know, cryptocurrency or ICO or whatever it is on the cryptocurrency side.
But I think what Steve's saying too, though, I agree with, because he's saying, you know, there's so many, it's so volatile because of the technology behind it, because of all of the moving pieces where we don't, I mean, yeah, we have the economy, but in the cryptocurrency, you have the economy plus all of these other things. And while it's declining and while we see this steady, we don't really know what normal looks like. I mean, all normal historically was before just pretty level, and then next thing you know, spiked up, which is abnormal, and we don't know where it's gonna mellow out, and we don't really know how to respond because we're not really used to it in regards to what is really good and what is really bad, like we do with the standard economy, like where we do regular money. So.
Sure. Yeah. So, guys, you ready to jump into the news?
What news? Nothing happened, right?
Oh, dude, we've got
nothing. Never ever happens.
We've got some pretty good stuff this week, and then we've also got the main topic. So we should move on. So first off, we've got a pretty cool article from Brian Krebs, who, if you are familiar with the name Krebs, you know that he digs into very deep investigative kind of journalism into various realms of security. And he wrote an article kind of detailing the Coinhive in general, like who actually is behind Coinhive, what is Coinhive, and so a couple of interesting facts that I actually didn't realize with Coinhive. So first off, if you use Coinhive keeps 30% of whatever amount of Monero cryptocurrency that is mined. So no matter what, like if you're a valid user or whatever, they keep 30%. So they have like, a specific like code for each user. And if like, let's say Coinhive got an abuse complaint, it will invalidate that key for the user, but it doesn't actually stop like the mining from happening for that specific key. So like, let's say that there's a piece of malware that infected thousands of systems that was mining to a specific wallet. And that wallet was getting 70% of whatever was being mined. Let's say that they got a complaint. Now they blocked that wallet from receiving coins. It doesn't actually stop any mining from happening. This is what I found was really interesting. So Coinhive does not block the like malicious person from getting coins. What they do is they then take 100% of the mined coins for themselves. So they don't actually stop the mining from happening. The mining still happens, and they get 100% of it.
That's a bit shady.
It's
yeah, definitely. It does sound shady. Now, maybe that's not intended. Maybe when they turn these cancel these keys, that they didn't necessarily intend for them to get all this money or even cared about it. But I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows?
So Krebs did some investigative journalism into like where they came from, and so originally, according to a since deleted statement on Coinhive's website, Coinhive actually was born from a German hosted site, which is called program with the zero.com. So Krebs looked into program. He did some basic like who is, on the domain and stuff, and found that this guy, Dr. Matthias Minch, I think is how you pronounce that, was connected to the research. And so that guy actually has crazy criminal charges. Like he's a convicted spammer, convicted murderer. Like he hired like somebody to like murder his mom and dad.
Wow.
Crazy.
He's not prison for this?
I think he is, but so Krebs throughout this article was trying to kind of tie the two together. And so Program, the company that allegedly Minch was part of, actually last July launched the first kind of like miner called ProMiner with a zero, PR0 miner, which was kind of the precursor to Coinhive. And Coinhive now has kind of like disengaged themselves from like Program. Like they say like they're not even like associated with them anymore. And I don't know, like it's allegedly kind of disconnected, but it's a really interesting kind of story because like, so Coinhive like to us is like information security people, it's like one of those things, like all these like pieces of malware want to mine through Coinhive. And so we see it all the time. And then we also see valid uses. So we see like us even, like we use it on our blogs as like a donate link. So it makes you wonder, like, is there really like something truly malicious with using Coinhive that we're not even seeing there?
More to the story, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's a valid monetization model, but people are going to take advantage of it too on the way there. So
sure, maybe not Coinhive.
Is the software open source? I thought it went open a while ago. I thought they came open with the code. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw something on that.
I don't know either if they are open source.
We'll have to research that.
Yeah, I guess that's the new question of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, because if then, I mean, do you really know what's running?
So another thing that's been brought up too in the community is when browsers are actually going to start coming out with native support for mining so that we can get off this whole JavaScript miner and start integrating that into the browser itself. That way we can, really harness that GPU instead of just, JavaScript, which is not really optimized for that scenario. So,
well, we're actually in a couple stories we're going to talk about Fileless malware, which uses PowerShell. So we can kind of tie that in there probably.
Nice.
Yeah. So the next story is the city of Atlanta is fighting a ridiculous ransomware attack as we speak. So last Thursday, which was March 22nd of 2018, the city of Atlanta were affected by a ransomware attack. And the attackers kind of basically gave them an option of either paying per computer $6,800 or an option of paying a single amount of $51,000. This is basically like the way it would convert is like you either use 0.8 bitcoins per computer or 6 bitcoins for all the computers. This was, last week, so prices are probably lower at this point because
their math was off a little bit.
Yeah, sadly.
Terrible attackers.
But what's interesting is so this is actually really interesting. So the payment portal that was set up by the hijackers was actually it's actually down way before the countdown clock stopped. So they had a countdown clock that ended yesterday. So Wednesday was yesterday, and they had a countdown clock that was like the deadline for when they could pay them, and they actually brought down the website. The attackers took it down themselves because the attacking site where the company was supposed to kind of like report whether or not they were going to comply with them or not actually went public. Like there was a leak from somebody internal to the city of Atlanta that basically told where that portal was, and a bunch of people like went to the portal and started like asking questions and stuff. So the attackers like brought the portal down, and so now the city of Atlanta, like they can't even pay to like have their stuff unlocked.
Didn't I hear that it was a .NET library or a .NET binary that was doing this?
Sam, man.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it moves laterally through something that's been patched like ages ago.
So it makes you wonder if you could just use system.reflection and kind of look at the source code and maybe decrypt it.
Yeah, or maybe if it's in DPAPI, I'm not sure. You could pull it out of there. I've seen them do that before.
And not all ransomware is built the same.
No. But the fact is, come on,
you wrote
Atlanta,
ransomware. Well, that, but somebody wrote ransomware in .NET.
.NET, yeah.
Ralph. Shame on
man,
you, Ralph.
.NET Core is cool. .NET Core is cool. All right.
No, I'm a huge .NET fan. I'm a huge C# fan, and I'm just saying, like, if you're going to write some ransomware, make sure that they can't get the source code to it.
You mean don't write it in Python? Just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to run my Python on here. This would be great.
Well, .NET's going to have to compile to like Microsoft's IL, which is reversible, so you could pretty much just pop it open like Telerik decompiler.
I prefer to write.
Spy.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Where's the private key then?
Is it even using PKI? It's probably using some stupid like some built-in namespace in Microsoft to do the encryption with the plain text string right there for the key.
Don't roll your own crypto.
Yes. I prefer to write my ransomware in bash scripts.
Limited to Linux environments.
To give you an idea of what happened, though, I mean, so the reason we're talking about this is because first and foremost, it's ransomware. Typically, they ask for cryptocurrency, right? But the implications of what happened. So first off, the Wi-Fi at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport has been shut down. Atlanta area residents can't actually pay their bills electronically. Which is not the most terrible thing ever, but I mean, it's real world impact, it's ransomware. And
so, and think about this, like how many companies are prepared to stand up like a Coinbase account and actually pay attackers if they need to get their stuff back?
Exactly. It's a great point.
Does that go into like a disaster
recovery plan,
preparedness plan or something?
Yeah, I mean,
how to open up a Coinbase account?
Obviously, they had zero disaster recovery plan because if they did, then they would have just restored from some image from last night.
Right? Yes. Backup images. No. That's what they should have done.
So what this says, this article says that it was encrypted with RSA and that they encrypt on the network and download the key and then delete it from source. So, like you said, yes, if they had a backup of when that private key was created and maybe backed up.
And stored on the drive, probably plain text. They could probably do recovery and carve it out of the bits.
If they're lucky enough to have PCAPs going out. Yeah, right.
What kills me is that almost all this ransomware can be solved with just backups. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of things that were messed up probably along the way, like RDP sessions open on the public internet, all kinds of other fun stuff, right? But just having a backup could at least get you back going maybe less a day or something. But, they're praying, working on hope here. No backups. So they've got no plan, too. Like you were talking about the plan to be able to pay the coins. I mean, don't you think, like, if that was included in the plan, you might think of like, well, maybe we'll make a backup every day instead.
Seriously. Hey, we should make a shirt that just says ransomware happens.
And in the back, it's going to say, so do backups.
Yes.
I mean, to be fair, this Atlanta had RDP exposed to the public. And then, I don't know, this is crazy. And then SAMA version 1. SMB V1, baby.
Making that eternal blue rain.
Yeah.
All right, next story. Drupalgeddon 2.0. Guys, this is
epic.
It's a rough one. It's a rough one. So Drupal released a patch for a highly critical, and we can't emphasize that anymore. I mean, I could probably scream it, but I don't want to wake my kids up. Highly critical flaw in versions 6, 7, and 8 of its CMS platform that could allow an attacker to take control of an affected site simply by visiting it. Guys,
nice.
RCE, anyone?
Yeah.
I was going to reverse the patch.
But
so is there POC yet?
There's got to be at this point.
There's not public one right now.
Not public that I've seen, right? But
we can reverse the patch.
So the way to tell is to start scanning Drupal sites for Hivecoin keys.
Yes, dude, that's brilliant.
If so, the POC's out there.
So for anyone who's in cryptocurrency who has no idea what we're talking about, let's kind of walk through this a little bit. So Drupal is a CMS, content management system. and it's used by like, what is it, like 1 million sites, probably at least.
Right, yeah. Think WordPress. Same.
Yeah, it's like WordPress. It's not as big, but
It's like 10% where WordPress is like 50. But the difference between WordPress and Drupal is the sites that are running Drupal are really large, either government sites or nonprofit organizations that are like really large, very mature organizations that have a lot of traffic.
Sure. Good point.
Yeah, so a little bit of detail about the flaw. So the flaw is described as an input validation issue where invalid query parameters could be passed into Drupal web pages. The only effective mitigation is updating your Drupal server, or potentially if you have a WAF, you could put a rule in place, potentially. But, I mean, we lean on the side of upgrading. I mean, I'm not going to even ask these guys because I know they're going to say the same thing. Like, I mean, I guess in the event that you couldn't update, but they actually release patches for some of the older versions too. So even like the latest version, which is like 8.5 is the current version, they have patches back to 6.0 and 7.0 that they release kind of like emergency patches for this specific vulnerability because it is that bad. So
yeah, they went all the way back to 6, and they're on 8, by the way, for anyone who doesn't
6
use it.
is unsupported too. It's supposed to.
It is unsupported. Yeah. So they actually released patches for 6 and 7.
They have a long-term support project for 6 though, so it's technically unsupported, but they have a little project trying to. I don't know. People keep wanting to use it. I guess I don't know.
So
It's unsupported, but they keep supporting it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like XP for Windows.
Yeah. No, seriously, Windows. Yeah, they release. I mean, like, if you pay them an extortion, then yes, you can get a new patch.
Got it.
Yeah, that's how it works.
What's the mean time to Metasploit module?
Exactly.
I'm guessing 5 more days.
5 days? Yeah, that's probably
I'd say
fair
2.
enough.
I'd say 2.
I'd say 2. Yeah, that gives it a good 3 days. I think.
So for anyone listening, that so tomorrow is what is it, March 30th? You've got basically a day to patch your shit.
Yeah, or you'll be a spray and pray victim.
Shodan, here we go.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So the bottom of the line is update your stuff. Hopefully you won't get pwned. Next story. Android malware that can cause device failure. I'm pretty sure this was Mike's story. So
I'm pretty sure that we talked about this on a couple episodes ago. That this was going to be the
broke
future.
Android though. That
this would be the future of what's going to happen shortly. We talked about it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, about how it would drain the battery and all that stuff. Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, we've mentioned how like miners in general should drain the battery. I mean, like that makes sense, right? But this app actually doesn't give like a crap about your phone. It's like, I'm just going to mine with all the resources possible because I'm going to get as much coin out of here as fast as I can and just destroy your phone. But what's interesting is the phone actually puts in interesting techniques to hide itself too. So I'm wondering why they didn't put more like precautions into like not destroying a device. Like so Hidden Miner, it actually uses several techniques to hide itself in the device. Like it actually like creates like a blank like icon on the desktop. So like if you have your phone open, it looks like a blank square. So you can't even see it. And then after it's running, you can't even like it hides itself from like the app launcher. So I don't know. It does a lot of things to try to hide itself.
Bypasses Android emulators too. I mean, they took their time. Why would you not make this so it's not so hidden if you're burning down a phone and the person knows it?
If the phone's in my hand and it catches on fire, it's not mining very well.
That might have been an unplanned, accidental side thing, though. You know what I mean?
It's like Office Space when he forgot the decimal point.
Yes.
Yes.
You know what would be interesting? I wonder how many other apps might have this. I wonder if we took like the top, I don't know, bunch of apps and then just automated the reversing to dedex it back to the Java source and then searched for some strings from this one. I wonder if we could find other ones.
That's a good point. Hey, maybe we should like do a live stream where we Twitch stream that stuff.
Yeah, let's do that. Maybe that's a great idea, dude. You should have came up with that Twitch streaming thing like a while ago.
Maybe like this next week, like maybe like Monday, we should do that.
If you say Monday one more time. Now, this is interesting though, and then it like screws with the admin, so you can't manage the device, and I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I didn't see in the article. Is this affecting the most current version of Android?
7.0 Nougat.
The Nougat.
Well, because what it's doing, it says that it's taking advantage of a bug that was found in Nougat, where it could prevent users from being able to remove it. So
beautiful, and it's not very hard to get on the App Store. I think you just submit anything and you're on there. So.
we were just talking about this earlier this week or last week. I think we were. Yeah, we were we can't get into it. Never mind. We'll talk about it after B-Sides Orlando.
Yes.
We'll talk about it after B-Sides Orlando. Never mind. I digress.
All right. Next story. So, Ralph, we mentioned it earlier about fileless malware and using PowerShell. A recent attack discovered by security researchers from Minerva Lab used malware dubbed GhostMiner, which has adopted the most allegedly effective techniques used by other malware families, including fileless infection attacks. And so the new threat it's using PowerShell. It's basically using PowerSploit, which is the out-compress DLL function and invoke reflective PE injection.
It's funny you mentioned that because is this a friend of mine, Rasta Mouse, just posted the same thing. It's using reflective PE injection.
Yep.
But the good thing is Defender catches it right off the bat.
It does, but what if you just change the Twitter handles? Does it?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
I wonder if you could load the NVIDIA drivers in for this bad boy. I don't know how many systems you would get that actually have a graphics card in them because they're all in mining rigs right now. But well, that would be interesting.
I actually used out-compress DLL and Mail Sniper too.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Is that for Mimikatz, I think?
No, it's for it's mainly for the DLL, for the Exchange Web Services DLL and Mail Sniper.
That's right. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so if it's not .NET, yeah, you need to do that, or else you can just do reflective assembly loads really easily.
So it's interesting.
But I don't know of any .NET miners out there.
Right. Exactly. This could be like the Android equivalent, as long as you don't burn up like a GPU or something.
So I mean, think about it. If you have something like this, it's just a PowerShell script, and you have remote code execution across thousands of Shodan instances. You could connect a Tor and just spray this thing all over the place.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And, it's fireless. You don't have to host it anywhere. All you have to do is just, however you're doing code execution, maybe just pump it onto the system, and, attackers can be pretty anonymous.
I mean, you're still going to have to use some sort of service to run it, though. I mean, you're going to have to have, like, Eternal Blue to, like, exploit something, or PSZ.
Right, that's what I said, was some kind of, and what I think about with this is, vulnerabilities in web applications and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. The other thing is if you get access to over a share where there's a .NET binary sitting in there, you could actually use reflection and just inject it into the PE.
Inject it right into it. Yeah.
So you could just plant a miner in every version of .NET application on the whole machine. That would suck.
I think when I'm on red teams and stuff, I take over a SCCM server and I just pump out my my malware.
Yes. I spread my malware seed to all the local hosts.
All the local hosts. Number 2 malware in all of Kazakhstan.
Number 1 is China.
So, I mean, we talk about, and we'll talk about that in the Hack Miami talk, is how defenders need to be looking at this through a holistic approach and using stuff like the MITRE framework to defend against this stuff, because crypto mining is not just web-based. It's not just WordPress. It's not just Drupal. It's coming into organizations, and people are spreading this instead of doing, you look at this latest malware against Atlanta, they're requesting $51,000, and we're seeing instances of malware mining, millions of dollars. What's more lucrative? What's more enticing for people to go after? And that's mining. So of course they're going to start, taking over entire networks and mining in the background.
So this is actually a great point of the show to bring up something I saw earlier. So John Strand actually created a poll this week. He basically said, if you had to pick one, would you choose ads on legitimate sites, or would you allow them to mine cryptocurrency in your browser with permission with no ads? Let's say less than 10% CPU. And I'm like, so the actual poll isn't actually over yet. There's 11 hours from the time we're doing this podcast, so it could be swayed completely different tomorrow. But at the current moment, there's been 1,400 votes, 1,400, and it is literally a dead tie, 50% down the middle. Ads versus mining in the browser. That blows my mind.
I would rather my browser go slow and my traffic go back to 1999 where images took forever to load than to get freaking ads that start audio when I'm browsing, or or force ad pop-ups on me that I have to click. I can't stand that.
I've had to spend literally hours just setting up defenses, black holing DNSs, just so I can browse the internet normal. I think it'd be worth it. I'd mine in my browser for a little while. It's just as long as you set it up so it doesn't destroy my experience where I'm going snail speed. But still,
so far we're 2-0 for cryptocurrency versus ads. Steve,
cryptocurrency.
Man.
We do have a cryptocurrency podcast. That's kind of a little biased.
And a little biased. Cryptocurrency mining as our ad. Come to our website and mine for us. Come on.
Listen, even if I didn't, or I wasn't as into cryptocurrency as I am now, I still think it's a better way to do it. Ads are so intrusive nowadays, man.
Yeah, I know. And they pop up, and you don't know where that little tiny X is to take it off the screen. Yeah.
And they have the one X that moves around the screen. It's you're trying to click it, and it's got a little Java function in there, and you just want to kill the programmer, literally.
So if you're out there listening, this is a perfect startup for blockchain technology to provide browser extensions which tie into the ad networks. You get funded off there, then you can give kickback to the people that actually do the installations.
Yes. Love it. So, seriously though, 1,400 votes, and it's a dead tie. I'm literally looking at 50% versus 50%.
Yeah, I would think, just from general public, would go for the ads versus the cryptocurrency money. But, it's really interesting to see it dead even.
It's crazy. All right, our last news story for the night. MailChimp, which it's a huge, if you've never heard of MailChimp, they're a huge organization that allows you to kind of facilitate having subscribers, sending emails to your subscribers. So if I wanted to start a podcast or something, I could have people sign up and I could send them a newsletter or whatever. They have actually came out and said they're completely blocking ICOs and anything cryptocurrency related from emails. And this is, on the kind of back of Facebook and Twitter and Google all blocking ads. I'm just kind of wondering, what do you guys think about the whole social media blocking of anything cryptocurrency related recently. I mean, obviously, like there's a lot of scams out there, but there's still a lot of decent stuff. Like what if we as the CoinSec podcast, we're not trying to like sell like some scammy crap. Like what if we wanted to put it on an ad, like to try to get more listeners? I mean, we can't do that anymore.
Yeah, you set up XM and you just do it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they've got the market on emails, but but I mean, it is. I mean, it's important. I mean, yeah, they make it easier. It is kind of silly to be like, well, obviously cryptocurrency is all scams. That's kind of what they're saying, which is it's true.
It's just going to redirect the traffic. This is the same thing that happened originally with e-cigarettes when they were like on the big boom. Everybody started blocking them. Facebook started blocking them, and you couldn't advertise on any platforms. I mean, and now it's like a normal thing. I think once they see what they're up against, it'll eventually change because there's going to be another MailChimp competitor that's going to not abide by those rules, and now they're going to have to either reconsider their stance on it, or you never know. There's a lot of money going into these ICOs, and a lot of these ICOs are having marketing campaigns, and if they can't use MailChimp, they're going to find somebody they can.
Yeah, so actually that brings up a good point. So there's actually, I saw one recently that is kind of like a Twitter competitor, but on the blockchain called Peepeth. I have not looked at it yet, but it's something completely decentralized from Twitter that is like, I looked at a screenshot and it looks exactly like Twitter, but it's, allegedly decentralized. So I don't know.
I would say, what if you want to take back your tweet? But you can't take it back anyways. Once it's out there, it's out there.
It's immutable.
It's just like Facebook. All of your data, it's out there. They've got everything. They've backed it up 4 times. Unlike every company who gets ransomware. But yeah, I mean, once it's out there, it's out there. So I don't know. Sure.
Yeah, but it'd be harder for like Cambridge Analytica to kind of just go straight to the blockchain and grab all the data, right?
It'd be harder or easier?
Well, it'd be easier to do it for free, but it would be more. It's much more difficult than just going to Facebook and being like, "Give me a database dump."
Yeah. We're a shady company. Could you give us all your data? Yeah, sure, no problem. We're a shady company too. Let's have a deal.
Nice. Okay, so that is it for the news for this week. Let's kind of jump into our informational section, so this week, so I saw an article right at the end of last week that kind of detailed using cryptocurrency in artwork, kind of hiding the private key in the artwork and kind of making it kind of like a challenge of sorts, which of course got my interest. I was like, oh, wait. There's cryptocurrency hidden somewhere here, which actually in a couple weeks we'll probably talk about this a little bit deeper in regards to games. But this week specifically is related to artwork. So there was a challenge. Well, I guess you call it a challenge. So there was like a $10,000 cryptocurrency kind of hidden piece of artwork in Lego artwork. An artist who in New York actually went about creating this art that was called New Money. Basically created a private key in a piece of artwork. Each of the New Money pieces constitutes a private key to a digital wallet. Those able to crack the code hidden in the abstract patterns gets to claim the wallet and the Bitcoin inside them. The accumulated prize of all art pieces is equivalent to roughly $10,000. And actually, they've been solved already. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's been solved.
The Lego one?
Yep, the Lego one has been
Lego
solved.
art.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's been
That didn't
solved.
take long.
Didn't take long at all. It took a few days. It has been solved.
Seems like it wasn't hard enough then.
I know, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, so the previous one, or the previous piece of art, took like 3 years. Took a few years, at least.
Well, the Lego one's a little bit more clear. It was a little bit more digital, and then
Right.
there's lots of variables you could pull off, like the size of the Lego, the color of the Lego, the position of the Lego. Whereas the other one was a little bit more difficult to even look at and try to derive any information from.
Yeah, like if you look at the article that we have in our show notes from incoherency.co.uk, one of the guys who wrote an article called How I Cracked the Bitcoin Keys in Andy Bausch's Lego artwork kind of details how he went about doing it. And you can kind of see the process there where he's like blue, yellow, green, red, blue, the different colors, and kind of matched them up in order of sequence, and then converted it into like a Perl script where he kind of, was able to kind of convert it into a private key from there.
That's way more than I would have done.
Well, no. Wait till you hear the next one. So the next one, this was actually solved in February of this year. There was a 5 bitcoins in a painting from 2015. So back then, that wasn't much money to spend to create a challenge. But the girl who actually created the painting wasn't expecting anyone to take that long to actually solve it, and so it was worth $50,000 whenever the person solved it.
Oh man! Hopefully hodled it.
I know. Well, I don't know these prices. So, what was interesting is, so it was a painting. I'm thinking how we can kind of describe this on an audio podcast, but it kind of looked like there were flames kind of around the border of the painting.
Like a checkerboard.
Yeah, there's kind of a checkerboard, kind of chess looking thing.
With a knight or a knight and that's not even a chess piece on the left. That's like a peacock or something.
Mm-hmm.
How about the key? Oh, you're talking about the bird on the left, and a chess piece and a bird, and then a knight, and then some sort of key ring with some red ribbons.
Yes. So the key with the red ribbons was very important, and allegedly that was something that a lot of people kind of dismissed. So retrieving the private key to the Bitcoin wallet required puzzle players to combine and extract 2 pieces of data from the painting. The data hidden in the flames flanking its edges, so the flames that went all the way around it, and then additionally, the data hidden in the ribbons tied around the key in the bottom right corner. The 6 ribbons tied around the key and the painting corresponded to a 6-bit cipher that acts as a literal key to the rest of the puzzle. So it took you first kind of figuring out there's a key and then being able to kind of coordinate that to the flames. So, a lot of work. Obviously, they put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I probably would have never solved it, honestly.
I bet that painting will go for more than that Bitcoin was ever worth eventually.
That's a good point.
Good point, yeah. So actually, this brings a great point. So guys, you guys want to write a song and then throw some Morse code in there or something that leads to at least a Bitcoin at today's price, and then a couple years from now it'll be at least $100,000. And I don't know, we could.
Well, if you go by McAfee's prediction, by 2020 it'll be 1 million, or he's going to eat his D.
Yes.
He's not shy with making.
Hey, John, we'll take you on the show.
In all seriousness, think about it though. If we were to actually create a challenge, any challenge. This is we're at a point where, with this specific niche community of people, a lot of people kind of really spend a lot of time trying to figure stuff out. Even puzzles.
I'd like a CTF type, like a vulnerable VM or something like that. I know there was already one done, but some others would be cool.
We should put it in a game.
Like an online game?
Like a game that people could download and play.
That secretly mined Bitcoin in the background.
Does it really mine Bitcoin in the background? Does anybody know?
No. So, are we going to talk about that?
Not tonight. So, I know that.
I can imagine Bo's face right now.
No. Hey, let's Twitch this stuff, man. Let's live stream it.
Let's do it.
I'm down.
On Monday?
On Monday.
On Monday. On Monday. Everything's going to be on Monday now.
Hey, so guys, if you're listening to this and you're good listeners, then you're listening to it on Friday, the day it came out. 2 days from now, which is, or actually, I guess that would 3 days.
3 days.
3 days.
3 days. Monday.
What date is that? Is that April 2nd? April 2nd. Monday, April 2nd. Expect a live stream on Twitch from the one and only CoinSec Podcast. The first ever live stream. It's going to happen.
You just committed, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, you committed. You went all in. You went all in, man.
Now I got to tell the wife.
Yeah, Jesus.
It's happening.
Yeah.
I got to put it on the schedule.
Yeah, I got to send her a calendar invite so she'll know.
Yes.
It's committed now.
I mean, hey, if it's a live thing, I mean, we got to like discuss time too. Like, what time do you guys want to do it?
I don't have no clue. It has to be during the day.
I mean, like most normal human beings aren't going to be like watching this stuff super late. So I don't know.
It's the only time I'm up.
I think we should put out a straw poll on CoinSec Podcast Twitter.
All right. Yeah.
What
Yeah,
time would you?
We'd only get 3 votes.
We have more dedicated viewers.
That's enough.
That. Come on.
3
now.
votes is enough to have a majority decision. So that's all we need.
No way. I'll make a bot for us to get a couple extra votes in there.
We're still waiting on a bot. We're still waiting on a bot from you.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, that's right. I do have a bot for you guys.
Yeah, Mike's got a iron trap for memory.
I know, right?
Well, I think we are approaching the final hour of the final minute of this podcast.
A 2-hour show tonight. All right. What else are we talking about?
We definitely appreciate you guys listening. Hey, if you're listening to this, make sure you follow us on Twitter. I mean, if you're not already, like, why not? We retweet and we tweet all kinds of things that are related to cryptocurrency and security. Tell your friends, tell your mom. I don't know, like, tell everyone about us.
Yes.
Keep an eye on CoinSecPodcast.com, which will have all the links to everything we talked about. We kind of keep like a little like note, you know, kind of going throughout the week that kind of details all these things that have happened that, you know, if you wanted to learn more, I mean, we kind of like, I don't know, what is it, like Cliff's Notes version of the story of each one of them? But the actual stories are out there and we have them on our site. So CoinSecPodcast.com, check it out. Subscribe to our podcast. That way, the day it comes out, like we just told you, we're gonna do Twitch like stream Monday. You wouldn't know that unless you're subscribing to this podcast. So subscribe. You will know the day it comes out. And hey, you know what? If you're listening and you actually enjoy what's going on here, please leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. You can also email us at info@coinsecpodcast.com. We love you guys. Ralph, Mike, Steve, thank you guys so much for hanging out. And we'll see you next week.
Pleasure.
See you later.
Thanks,
Later.
guys.
Stay classy.